One of the most common feelings I hear from midlife professionals is this quiet, persistent thought: I should be further along than this, further in their career, further in their clarity, further in figuring out what's next. And even when they're doing deep internal work, reflecting, reassessing, trying to move carefully, there's still a sense of being behind. Today, I want to talk about why that feeling shows up, why it's so convincing, why it's often completely inaccurate. Because feeling behind doesn't mean you are. It often means you're comparing your life now to a version of life that no longer fits. Feeling behind in midlife often comes from comparing your current life to an earlier version of yourself, a version that had different energy, different responsibilities, and different kinds of pressure. You might remember being able to work longer hours, take bigger risks, or bounce back more quickly from stress. So when you look at your pace now and see it's actually slower, more cautious, or more deliberate, it's easy to assume you're fallen behind. But what's exactly or actually happened is not a decline. It's not a decline in capability. It's a change in context. Midlife brings more complexity. Your body may need more care. Your nervous system may not tolerate constant pressure the way it once did. Your priorities often shift from proving yourself to protecting your stability, your health, and your quality of life. When you measure this new phase using the expectations of your old one, you'll almost always feel late, but you're not late. You're recalibrating to a different set of realities. And that recalibration is not failure, it's wisdom responding to lived experience. Earlier in life, progress had a very specific look. It looked like upward movement, promotions, big titles, bigger responsibilities. It looked like doing more, achieving more, and moving faster. That model works for a while, but it's built on the assumption that your life is expandable in every direction: more energy, more time, more resilience. In midlife, that assumption often breaks down. Progress might not look like acceleration anymore. It might look like stabilizing your health. It might look like choosing work that doesn't drain you. It might look like creating predictability instead of chasing growth. Those forms of progress don't photograph well. They don't make impressive LinkedIn updates, but they are deeply meaningful shifts, shifts that create long-term sustainability. If you keep using an old ruler to measure your life, a ruler built for speed and expansion, then everything that looks like stabilization will feel like stagnation. And that's simply not true. Recalibration is a word we don't talk about enough, but it does describe this stage perfectly. Recalibration is generally what happens when you realize the settings you've been using no longer produce the results you want. It's the process of adjusting expectations, pace, and direction so they match who you are now, not who you were 20 years ago. This phase can feel uncomfortable. And the reason is because it's often involving slowing down, questioning old goals, and letting go of identities that once defined you. That doesn't feel like progress, it feels like uncertainty. But recalibration is not regression, It's the step that makes sustainable movement possible. You're not drifting, you're adjusting. You're adjusting the course of your life so it doesn't keep pulling you in directions that no longer fit. That's thoughtful, not behind. One of the hardest parts of this stage is that much of the work you're doing right now is invisible. You might not be changing jobs. You might not be launching something new. From the outside, your life may look exactly the same. But internally, you're doing deep restructuring. You're noticing what drains you. You're recognizing your limits. You're becoming more honest about what you can and cannot sustain. That inner work doesn't get applause. It doesn't come with milestones or certificates, but it's foundational. It's necessary. You're rebuilding your relationship with work, with your body, with your own expectations. That kind of work changes the trajectory of your life, even if no one else can see it yet. Invisible work still counts, and often it's the most important kind. So when you're under pressure, financial pressure, time pressure, social pressure, everything starts to feel urgent. Urgency shrinks your perspective. It tells you that if you're not moving quickly, you're failing. It pushes you to make decisions just to escape discomfort. But urgency is not the same thing as clarity. Pressure can make thoughtful pacing look like avoidance. It can make careful reflection look like weakness. It can make rest look like laziness. When your nervous system is activated by pressure, your view of your life becomes distorted. You can't see the progress you're making because you're only looking for speed. Stepping back enough to see clearly, again, isn't indulgent, it's necessary. You're not late for your life. You're adjusting your life to match the realities you're living now. That adjustment takes time because it's not just about changing jobs or goals, it's about changing how you relate to yourself. You're learning to listen to your energy instead of overriding it. You're learning to respect your limits instead of pushing through them. You're learning to value sustainability over short term gains. Those shifts don't happen overnight, they unfold gradually as you test new boundaries and build new patterns. That doesn't make you late. It makes you someone who is choosing long term stability over short term speed. Clarity doesn't operate on the same timeline as urgency. You can't force clarity to arrive by worrying more or pushing harder. In fact, pressure often pushes clarity further away. Clarity forms when there's enough space for honesty, when you're allowed to acknowledge what's changed, what's no longer working, and what you actually need now. That process unfolds at a pace that matches your nervous system, your circumstances, and your readiness. It's not a race, it's not linear. You're not behind. You're in the middle of a process that leads to decisions you can actually live with, not just survive. If this helped you today, if it helped you breathe a little easier, that's the point. You don't have to rush your way into your next chapter. You're allowed to arrive there steadily. So do me a favor, help me help you. Subscribe if you want guidance on moving forward without turning your life into a race again. I've learned it from experience myself. Clarity comes first. Thank you and have a great day.